Hello, and welcome to another episode of my Alpha Centauri Let's Play. This is Northstar. Now I've adjusted the volume settings a little. My voice should be more audible, much louder. Get it in the yellow zone on OBS where it's supposed to be instead of in the green. The game audio. Hold on one sec. The game audio is still a little quieter than it should be, but hopefully you guys can hear it a little better than the past. I'll have to see what this sounds like after the video. I'm getting very gradually better at mixing stuff and clipping stuff and the audio settings. It's not ideal, but I'm learning nonetheless, even if not as quickly as I would like. With my long COVID, which for those of you new to my channel, welcome. For those of you returning, welcome back. Very briefly, I'm disabled long COVID. I don't always act as quickly as I would like, especially in 4X games like this. Nonetheless, this is Alpha Centauri, arguably one of the best games ever made. So,
request confirmation.
Arguably one of the best games ever made. So I am very much hoping that, despite the slow turn times and such, some of my chat are keeping you guys entertained. You folks will get something out of this. Enjoy the videos.
Request confirmation.
Just doing a quick once over on all this. I need to get this eco damage a little higher so I actually get a fungal pop. Well, I say that, but actually I don't need one until ready to do tree farms. So if anything, this is optimal. Very low risk of it. Basically, getting as many minerals as I can without a high risk of eco damage. Maybe it should even go more, but my terraformers are also by there anyways. Looks good. Looks good everywhere except that maybe I want to do another unit support from Border Agency. Civil Rights is really struggling with its production levels. 35 here. Nutrients to go. Yeah, and I probably do want to build up a few of these laser squads. Because I'm going to need impact infantry. If for no other reason, I'm sure the Spartans will have some synth metal units here and there that I will have to attack instead of, you know, defending against. It's generally better to be in the offense, and I have a very offensive structure in my military now. Add to my might formula, so in terms of deterring other factions from maybe wanting to declare war on me later, impact infantry will have a little more life in them, but yeah, no one's going to really invade this continent from far away. I doubt it anyways. Still. Do support from here on that. And support from here on that. And there we go. Oh, I could still do one more and get the command center. Yeah, 4 minerals. I do need the probe teams in decent time. So, yeah, that'll have to do. That gets a nice bit of progress here at Monitoring Agency, which has 38 nutrients to grow. I'm going to return now I can do this without losing a unit. Do that twice, at least. Little investment in growth. Maybe, I mean, I'm starting to build up for war with the Spartans, but I may be rushing into it a little, since it's going to take a while to map out their territory and do the various probe team actions to kind of weaken, soften them up a little. I'll sort of up armor my transports if possible. Maybe armor up some of my probe teams, upgrade the weapons. I only have so much energy. And get my navy, well, map on the coastline and actually get my navy off their coast. We'll see. I'm slowly increasing my readiness level though, especially now that I've stopped spamming more recon rovers. It's going to end up at about 44 of them, it looks like. That's still... How am I doing 5? I see 1 here. It's telling me I've got 5 in production. Let's see. Oh. Defense Command is a rover queued up. And I placed that with a probe team. That's why. With probe teams. They're on because they won't choke my mineral production. I've invested quite enough military units that cost minerals. Maritime Command is going to struggle to produce anything if I keep doing. So let's replace probe team. Lucian Institute might do a rover for exploration. And here we go. 42 rovers, the answer to life, the universe, and everything. Yeah, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, for those who don't understand what I'm referencing and think I've lost my mind. In other news, I'll say a little bit, and by the time this goes up, this will be hopefully less of an edgy statement that is now when it's like May, but that or thing thoroughly irrelevant by this point. But I just wanted to say, for those of you stressed out about what's going on in the United States, for my American viewers, I know I have international viewers, though you may be still stressed out about what's going on in the U.S. because we're kind of the most powerful country in the world and will be for a long time, even though China surpassed us economically in terms of GDP. They also have more people to care for, so they have less surplus to spend on like military. And even once they get to the point where they can spend more on their military in the U.S. if they wanted, which they probably won't immediately do because they'll keep focusing on their economic growth, it would take a long time for them to catch up, which is to say the U.S. is going to have so much military power for a very long time, such a lead that it's kind of scary if the U.S. is going essentially fascist. So I get that. That's stressful and concerning. I will say, though, just I do believe people don't stop resisting, don't stop fighting the fascist takeover, the injustice, protest, organize, strike, because you can't just march. You got to do what you can to disrupt the economy with strikes, withholding your labor from this stuff, because otherwise, I mean, protest is meaningless. Protest is nothing but a threat to do more, and if you can't do things like strike, then yeah, I mean, follow the law, but strike, boycott, divest, whatever you can do, because it's funny, people have used those terms to refer to other things, but I'm referring to what's going on in the U.S. if Trump's essentially slow fascist takeover, which might fail, by the way, but on its own. But I'm confident that if people never stop resisting, even if that succeeds, justice will come eventually. Freedom will return. Fascism is a very unstable, self-defeating ideology. It's not doomed to collapse, but it's got a high likelihood. If people don't give it an easy pass, it's quite likely to happen. So, um, yeah, don't give up. I know it seems, how would I say it, almost hopeless right now, but it's not. It is most definitely not. As for this here, I don't know if the rock's providing defensive bonus, but um, hmm, probably actually could station the unit up on these rocks, since what I'm really worried about is mine worms coming from well, the north or the south. Or maybe these ones. Anyways, take a peek over there. Um, put this unit here in case I need to rush the scout patrol somewhere. All right, slow getting better with stuff. Give me a sec. My apologies, I smelt something off. I hope the screen is still appropriately fitted. If it's not, well, my apologies. I accidentally moved it when I misclicked when I was leaning over to see if it was coming from a laptop. It doesn't. I think something is baking. I think there's little bits of drippings. They're burning a little, like smoking up. Because the oven does not get cleaned often enough. Anyways, I'm getting better at figuring out where to put my units here. No mine worms. There. Oh well. Civil rights needs a unit attached as police, otherwise they lose their golden age. Effectively costing one a con point, so. Sorry, someone speak to me. Also, audio should be slightly easier to hear now. Where I want it in the L range. At least according to Discord, OBS community stuff, you want audio, voice in the yellow range and game and stuff, audio in the green. So I think this is better. But it was real in the green, the game audio, so that's been adjusted too. Right. Sorry. Probably sounds like a sneeze. It's a cough, but it cuts it off the AI noise canceling, such that it always sounds wrong. Do I have another unit that can act as police other than this Uni Rover? Police and defense, really. This rover from Maritime Command. All the way up there. Well, that'll do the job, I suppose. You know what? It can get support locally. sure that brings the laser squad down to 18 turns complete. But it speeds up completion of the skim ships, which were taking too long otherwise, and I really do need and the probe team would have never gotten done after. Do need a decent navy for exploration and for grabbing the occasional alien artifact and such, defending my transport foil, and I'll eventually get some unifoils too, which are slower but do the same thing. Slower and have less capacity on top of that. Anyhow. Where is that artifact? Should probably sit in the HQ. Safest place for it. And there's no reason to do police here in UN World Health. They could even reach size 8 and they would or get a bureaucracy drawn and be fine. Well, there's a slight incentive in terms of rare isle to deep attacks. It's not worth. That being said, wouldn't hurt to have it hang around here for probably the considerably more common risks to forest agency. Base that'll grow quickly.
Request confirmation.
Let's get that skim ship done. It's worth the rushing at this point. Cool. Cool. Then a probe team. Scout patrol. Wasting its bloody time. Got a recon rover doing the same though. Probe team's gonna have to be rushed with the forest chops, but I really want minerals at World Health Organization because they have a command center. And command center will I'm pretty sure it'll lead to higher level probe teams. Still a lot of units they're supporting though. Alright. Support from there. Boom. Brilliant. I'll be able to rush next turn and only cost me 11 energy for 5 minerals. More importantly, though, is I'll be able to do a final row for 25 energy, rush each probe team. I want to put extra energy in, or just probe team every 3 turns. Alright, give me a sec. Alright, just turn the audio slightly up and was doing a little head math on this. Yeah, I want 1 more unit to get support from Border Agency. And then every 5 turns, the Russia slow probe team costs 11 energy. It's more cost effective than. Or no, I could do 4 and do it every 4 turns. 16, that'd be the last 4 minerals, which I think are 2 each. Actually, that'd be better. Alright. I've shifted too many units already. Border Agency is, after all, more on the borders. This is very slow, but that's why I'm doing the cheaper probe teams. Alright, then. I might as well do the faster ones that were. Got like a command center. Since the slow ones will see a lot less action because they're more likely to get stationed either just to keep an eye on certain area geography or defend bases from probe teams eventually. The chance of any given base getting selected. The faster ones are more likely to be my elite ones that actually go and do operations. Of course, if it's really far out there and they have enough production, then faster is better. Yeah, I'm going to switch this for a slow one, though. Just because it's too bloody. Maritime Command is low mineral production. It's still close enough that, yeah. Whereas Defense Command has much higher production, so I can do the faster teams. But should I? Yeah, I should. They're better if I can afford them. Alright. Anyhow. Got a transport here. A disciplined recon rover. I guess it's the only thing going south. Further south from this base, though. So I want to send this one along as well. So, nope. Stack these up on that tile. That's not adjacent to any fungus, so I can stack them high. No problem. No risk at all of mine worm attacks. Give me a sec. Okay, I was messing with the audio a tiny bit more. I should probably stop doing that because probably just listen to the beginning of this video, forget to listen later, and oh, the audio is good. Not after a certain point though. Right. Let's see. Better unit a lot further forward in case of unexpected war. Way I said war now. I'm thinking of, I don't know if any of you watched the series Attack on Titan. It's kind of gross and barbaric at times, but like body horror type stuff. But there's some interesting openers and closing songs to some of the episodes. One of the later seasons for part of it has this like very disconcerting one, but it's about it's supposed to represent the unnaturalness of warfare, especially the industrialized warfare of like it's kind of an analogy for World War One or maybe two. This song has like artillery blowing stuff up, ships firing their shell eyes, and you can go check on YouTube the opening bits. You'll see what I'm talking about. The song is very recognizable. Hmm. That was a fail. All right, see that. Trying to put forward rover support bases that I'd rather have more minerals at, like monitoring agency, world health. Civil rights. Of course, I only have so many from those areas. Forest agency. Oops. Didn't mean to open rainfall article. Do I poke my head over here? There could be a Spartan unit along the border. Though it's unlikely. Yeah. Yeah, I'll do it because this gets tied to open ground, it can disengage if there's mine worms over here, which definitely could be. I do need to train up the rovers a little bit. Honestly, the Spartans demand tribute. I'll tell them to go F themselves, and probably it'll cause them to declare on me. I'm not entirely averse to the war breakout now, although I would like to get probe teams in their territory first. And if probe teams get caught in war, they die. If they get caught in peace, they just get sent back to your headquarters, I think. They get interrogated and sent back. So, because I guess killing them would be an act of war. There's no real consequence to interrogation. It's not like it gives them intel on your bases or something, which I guess could have, if they had like a Civ 4 type espionage system with points, that could have been a consequence. That would have made some sense of that, but send this here so it can work. That, or I don't mind a green unit suffering cloud damage, worst case. And so it can go that monolith instead of the other, because I probably want more units in that area. Do a mine there. I could do a condenser, but two bases that could potentially work that are low in minerals that aren't being used on support. Condenser is a very long-term thing. Minerals at the front, probably important. Forget. This is alright, 10. I need this to heal up. Suppose it could use a monolith. Yeah, it's quicker. Maintains higher readiness. I'll do that. Uh, should keep it over there for backup. This all goes sideways. Yeah, mostly moving to stationing units along the border here. If war breaks out, I can make quick raids into Spartan territory. And I can also hunt for mine worms when I'm out here. Hidden fungus. It's a great place to be there. At least against Spartan units. Not so much against mine worms. Da, 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 da. It's a lot of extra. Hmm. So it grows. It can work another solar panel. Although, this gets one lab point. Give me a moment. Alright, I was looking at tiles. I rather would like to have another mine, so it's rolling rainy Well, elevation tiles, perfect. Plenty of mine there. Where did I raise elevation for? I think it was... No, it was up here, wasn't it? I have to raise the elevation there further. Or I could do it. Less stuff for other times. No, I need the mines. And where I raised elevation, it was partly about buffing the solar panel, which will eventually get used. Eventually. Pretty sure I was working before I had this condenser farm, so actually I did get a little use of it, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, another mine. Flat area here. I might plant a condenser, so I can do 2 more mines on the coast. So make these moist tiles rainy that way. Be useful someday. Same with probably a condenser here for... anyways. Stuff to do for sure. Fail. Well, we have a couple disciplined rovers here. Deal with the mine worms crawl out, disengaging, but also was hoping to find a mine worm and harvest the planet pearls. Can provide. Boom. Doesn't hurt to have an extra defender here. For a turn, that unit's on the way to the front. Veteran rover. Better at fighting the Spartans. Fail. Just gonna move this rover out here. Helps patrolling the server area for mine worms. It's better to patrol the rivers because you can make it so units end their turn outside the fungus even while they hunt for mine worms in it. Whereas most fungus, you move into fungus and you're out of movement, so you're stuck there defending. Now roads and xenofungus are not good to patrol because they have only 1 in 27 odds of spawning mine worms apparently. Some misinformation, they're good to patrol, but the rivers have 1 in 9, normal xenofungus 1 in 3, forests, roads. They're xenofungus 1 in 27, which you only get their fungal blooms on road squares or later with a secret project that lets you build roads. So if you have a road and there's a fungal bloom, it's not destroyed. So you can get it earlier. But that just helps you basically rebuild the improvements later. Rocky tile. Rolling tile. Rolling moist. Condenser is being built there for condenser farm, but it's dual use. Providing a site that I could mine. Give me a second. Ooh boy, I realized I'm getting ahead of myself. Whatever else, probably want to farm here. I thought about it, said I was getting ahead of myself. So it can be a farm. But this can actually work when it grows. Better than a 1 energy. 3-1. Be 2 nutrients and a mineral. Maybe not necessarily better in all ways, but for minerals, short term, I'll put a solar collector there. So actually, yeah, then it'll produce more energy and basically shift 1 nutrient to minerals. So that the Force Agency at least has 1, can slowly build those probe teams without the very rare forest chops. Also, when I uncap energy, this will be a 3 energy tile. So that's nice. I can put a supportive condenser here and echelon mirror here. Condenser because it's adjacent to force, could get overgrown into a force condenser, and echelon mirror because it probably won't work this tile anytime soon. Can add a little energy. That, and actually it's still a decent tile for crawling for energy at some point. If I don't have the population capacity for crawling for nutrients, unless I wanted to use colony pots like seed pop cups, which is exceedingly expensive. It represents basically very inefficient, maybe building skyscrapers kind of thing to add housing capacity. Maybe, I mean, people may not always want to live in skyscrapers or high-rise apartments, but, well, sometimes you can commercial buildings or research labs, wherever they're like basically skyscrapers. People won't live there, but it'll free up space for housing. But, you can do tall residential buildings too. Something exists. People just prefer their single-family homes way too much, even though it's very inefficient use of resources. Now, if we had a much smaller population, maybe that'd be sustainable. But the fact is, we have a world that's overpopulated until that population shrinks a lot, which eventually will happen with falling birth rates. People could make that better by having fewer kids, but heck, YouTube will probably suppress my videos even from mentioning that idea. Because you got freaking billionaires out there who want people to make it possible to keep wages low. Because jobs can only grow so quickly as there's accumulation of capital, but population grows at a always semi-related rate. If it either at least is not outpaced by jobs as much or even outgrows it, you can keep wages lower than they would otherwise be. And that increases billionaire profits. So, yeah, overpopulation is to the interest of the very rich and not really anyone else. Because then there's more competition for the jobs that are available. So I'm rushing the Scout Patrol south. Oh, yeah, I need to investigate that. Because there's a little stacking that's not great. So both from the UN headquarters, whatever. Defending a former does not need a defender. I mean, might as well, in case I decide to send them to transport some other direction. Do something more useful, like help this get to Force Agency and down here. Help this former get another tile quicker. I don't know. So yeah, these minerals, I was remembering why I did all the mines in the core. It was because early helped with colony pods and formers. I mean, these bases were the ones that could get them at decent pace, decent clips, and I didn't want the populations to grow too large or colony pods become less efficient with it costs more nutrients to place pops. And then later, of course, the mines were useful for military units, and much later after this war, they'll be useful for building infrastructure. And then I'll, of course, want to retool the terraforming at the center to be more energy focused because inefficiency does not affect the headquarters at all and affects World Health Organization not very much because it's so close. So those bases would be energy powerhouses to a degree. They'll have to raise the terrain a bunch to make decent use of solar panels. Hey, that'll bring some sea up to land, and that'll allow new base sites nearby. Like one here when this is a land tile. It's currently ocean. We'll be able to also be close to headquarters and produce energy relatively efficiently, and then further out I need to rely more on specialists to get around inefficiency. especially because I could be running planned fundamentalist eventually. Um, some points. I might mostly do free market fundamentalists. So I should explain. Planned amplifies with the industry bonus the effect of any economic surplus you have in terms of minerals that aren't used on support and energy that goes into buying minerals because everything's cheaper, makes them go further. Effectively adds 1/9 to your mineral production. If you don't have any other industry bonuses, if you had one from wealth, it'd add 1/8. If you're free drones, if they have two industry, and if they're wealth, then it adds 1/6, which is massive. It's especially useful when you got supply cars everywhere and you're not working tiles with citizens. Free market, on the other hand, scales mainly with the number of citizens working tiles, even if all the energy is going to facility maintenance, all the minerals is going to um, unit support what was already being produced. So when you have a ton of unit support, free market can add more to your economic surplus and actually just stronger economically. Whereas if you're building up and you don't have a lot of need to have a lot of military units, planning can be better because of the growth and benefiting a lot of economy credits used to buy infrastructure and such, as well as minerals, getting secret projects cheaper, which you can't really rush with energy. If you combine it with Democratic and Tron's Crace, you can boom any base. And the only crossfire Democratic planned, and just a local golden age, which you can sometimes get by running a lot of doctors, plus a base facility or two like your Rec Commons, Hologram Theater, or Virtual World. Which is, if you get the Virtual World, some places network nodes with Rec Commons are a cheaper way to boom than doing Children's Crash, which it's only useful for the +1 efficiency, which you might not benefit if it's a base for your HQ and you're going more minerals and specialist focused anyhow, because minerals and specialists are not affected at all by inefficiency. It's only energy, and only if it's raw production sort. All right. Well, hmm. Boom. Boom. I should actually try and get this to the end of the peninsula if possible. Trying to get scouts there for the transport flow. At least one. Yeah, players love free market, and there's a variety of reasons for that. Um, getting ahead in tech just sounds cool, and if you're not running tech extension, it's a lot better than if you are to do free market. And they just like playing with the later game toys. And in competitive multiplayer games, which I've said, it really screws up the balance because these civ games are meant that you kind of control when you go to war. In multiplayer games, humans are little. There's no role playing. There's no role playing appeasement like choosing social engineering choices or gifts. No, you can give a huge gift of energy to a player and they'll still attack you the next turn. They do not care. Don't give a damn. And with the psychopathic way that a lot of players at the multiplayer games, you need a ton of military to be prepared. I mean, I've looked through things and so the PDMs of this game, and the players who get crushed are always the players who go building and don't build any defense military. You need to at least run a hybrid. style, or you will get conquered. You can't really be a builder in multiplayer games unless you're on an island far from everything, and for whatever reason, no one wants to target you. Say you don't have a chance of winning the game. And even then, you're often better if diplomacy is allowed, which at least with Alpha Centauri it often is, as opposed to some other Civ games ban it. Even if it's not very effective, you'd be better running hybrid style and allying with other players to team up against whatever player is the most threatening, most likely to pull ahead of the pack. Like if there's someone who's Spartans and they start next to the Data Angels, I saw a game where this is happening. The Data Angels are gonna get screwed. They cannot defend against that. That's where you'd want a bunch of players like the Morganades and stuff to go hybrid instead of builder and contribute some units to help the Data Angels not die, because if Sparta eats the Data Angels, they're going to be able to eat everyone else. You're next kind of thing. It's players do not realize this. In fact, this is why arguments like, oh, Unipods get some players stronger by giving resources. Not the players play smart and don't stupidly outlaw diplomacy, because just whoever gets the best start and starts pulling ahead, everyone else should be teaming up against them until they're no longer ahead, and then they team up on someone else, shifting alliances against whoever's top dog. I know people hate it and say it sounds petty, but it's how the real world works. It's like literally what England did in Europe for centuries, is try to maintain balance of power by teaming up with whatever nations are weaker against the stronger ones, and just constantly be allies with the French, be allies with the Germans, be allies with whoever. It didn't matter. Shift their alliances to try and keep anyone from overwhelming their neighbors and then being a real threat to them. Because that's smart strategy. Not to ignore someone eating up their neighbors. They do that, they will be stronger than you. It's more efficient to conquer a weak neighbor than it is to build up your own economy. It is in this game too, of course. I've made myself unpalatable with Spartans, and I may actually have a stronger military despite the game thinking not. Because impact rovers are just as vulnerable to being killed by recon rovers as are scout rovers or recon rovers. They all have one defense. If the only real benefit in a matchup against recon rovers and impact rovers is they'll kill my recon rovers slightly more efficiently. The impact weapon is for punching through armor, and I don't field any units with armor right now. So it is, yeah, purely the game thinks that the Spartans are substantially stronger than me, but I might actually have a more effective army, especially with tricks like the transports. Not enough that I necessarily want to go to war, because didn't want to go to war because it would eat up a lot of units that I have to replace them. I've made at least some economic investments during peacetime and make it harder to get probe teams to actually know their territory, which will make when the war does happen, when I have that intelligence, I'll be able to fight it much more efficiently. And I'm also spending this time training up my rovers on mine worms. Right. Boom. I can load this rover, and the transport can bring it wherever. And unload it. There's a green recon rover here. Guess I'll bring it to Planetary Trust. Load up the screeny. Go here. Because this will guarantee this can reach the monolith in one turn instead of a 2/3 chance. Go back into the base. Efficient use of the transport. Hmm. Alright, I should probably support this here because the importance of Navy. Don't want Maritime Command supporting 2 units with minerals. Uh, Defender. Only formers was pressing Control F to try and resize the window when this was open. But that's a shortcut here, so that won't work. Resize OBS, and I think I have to have OBS open for that to work anyhow, so it was dumb. Skip turn because you never know when you'll need to attack out. Somewhere like here, there's enough mobility. The Scout Patrol could finish something up. The Recon Rover doesn't. But yeah, the Rover is more for dealing with mine worms. Recon Rover is the cheapest rovers I can make. I mean, I could do Scout Rovers, but they cost the same and they're less effective if they ever have to fight humans. So why? Why would I do that? That's a graphics glitch. It's showing part of a former, part of a Scout Patrol there. I think I was talking about this before, though. I don't want to go too heavy on defense. It's not cost effective. Should be exploring where there's stuff, potentially I can hunt up some mine worms, train my units. It's not even really worth building units, just act as defenders. Not at this point. Actually, as the mine worms become more advanced and I get trance defenders, it may become more worthwhile. Or empath ones, actually. Try and attack them before they attack. Because even if I'm paying mineral and support costs, an empath patrol, scout patrol, maybe might be able to give it a weapon or armor for the same cost. Again, for human units, why not? But yeah, an empath unit will be able to get planet pearls when it wins against mine worms. And mine worms, right now, they're worth 30. When they are another stage in their life cycle, they'll be even harder to kill, but they'll be worth 40. So 1/3 increase in benefit for less additional losses. That it's still worth it, is the point. Although it might be the next cycle after that they start becoming so hard to kill, it might be better to actually not fight them again. I don't know. There's kind of an arms race between improving unit morale and effectiveness of mine worms versus mine worms getting bigger. Go there. And here, if I can manage it. Oh, if not, I'd rather be where it can't be attacked. Trying to get this up towards the coast because these mine worms will eventually land if I can attack them. Be better if they attack me. How deep is 4 movement? I think it moves through fungus for free, but even if not, 1, 2. With the worms, then they go 1. Yeah, they could already attack. Yeah, suffer hasty penalties. So if anything, I don't want them stacked where they could be collateral damage. Yeah, so actually I'll move that unit up that way. And this one, my arms are unlikely to move past the scout patrol to go for the formers. They might not even know we're there. It's the hope anyhow. We can attack the scout patrol. Same turn, they start moving from the coast, whereas they have to go another turn to reach the formers. First to be done very soon. Be done before I have a pop to work it. Okay. Although, if it was done sooner, could shift off of this tile. Alright. Give me a sec. Think about balance between former turns versus mineral and maybe extra energy. Get this force done 1 turn sooner. Probably better off saving the former turns and planting a forest. Boom. I'll have to remove fungus first, but fungus forest on the river. Always cool. Former takes 20 minerals to replace. Pop 48 nutrients. This base is, yeah, I'll defend the base. No, there's a lot of nutrients here in Explorarion. I don't lose many pop turns, but as this base grows, growth will slow down. Last pop will still grow quite slowly. Plus, honestly, my worms are more likely to hit the base than the former there. Take this safer approach to this pod. Explores the peninsula. Oh, nice. Minerals that would have definitely not found otherwise, or not soon. One of the main reasons exploration helps, you get a better idea of resources, and you can later plant bases more intelligently, or even plot your expansion. Just even that. I should say, not just that I might put a base here, but it may affect where I want to put bases on the way to there. That's a better way of putting it. Even where I want to explore with other units later. Knowing if I'm going to plant a base here someday, I might want units more around here looking. for stuff on the coast I missed. I keep selecting help instead of info. You know, spotting coastal pods. Because then I have units conveniently near where our base will go later. If there is a pod on the coast, that's more reason to get another skim ship out this way. Besides that, we're King Isle of the Deep. Right.
Indigenous life form complete.
Oof. Oof. Okay, that recon rover is as good as dead. Doomed. Doom. Doom. Well, whatever. Guess I can shift this transport to get support from WHO if I really want. If I'm not going to rush things, but heck, I might. Sometimes rush the probe teams. Maybe not. Sometimes do slow probe teams. But I'll figure it out. Next turn. But next turn probably also be next video because besides the irritating death of this unit surrounded, which it's not kind of how I end my day. I struggled just to get this video. Definitely not going to get past next. Probably can't do another today, so it's a good place to leave it. I wish you folks all the best. Take care of each other. More time I'll save just in case. So out of it I didn't do that or something. Take care of each other. Be kind yourselves, and may always find a guiding star to lead you home. Till next time, adieu.